I'm here on a training camp, bit of a triathlon training camp, so I'm doing some running and some cycling. And today is our long bike ride. So recently Team Cycles released a blog giving you some information about nutrition and how to fuel. So what I thought I would do is I would go through that blog and all the information in that and how I'm going to apply it to the ride that I'm going to do today. So I've got lots of fuel with me in my backpack, as well as a change of clothes, and I'm on my way to the training centre for a massive breakfast. I'll show you what fuel I've got and I'll show you a little bit about the ride that we're doing today. I'll see you there. So what I've got today is a big bowl of bircher muesli full of fuel and slow release carbs. I've got some honey to add to that, which is a fantastic sugar for the body to process for the workouts, a banana, and finally some caffeine. It's 3 to 6 grams per kilo of body weight. Okay, so I'm now at the sports centre. Today, like I said before, we've got a long ride on the training camp. It's going to be around 115 kilometers. Now most of that is going to be around the base of Lake Maggiore with a 20 kilometer climb in there. So most of it is going to be pan flat, and I would expect it to be pretty fast, do it at a pretty decent pace, but that 20k climb is going to really slow us down and really add a lot of time. So my expectation is that we're going to have around about a 5-hour ride. Now, aiming for that magic 60 grams an hour of carbs to make sure that the fuel all the way through. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all of the different things which I'll be eating and to try and vary my diet as we're going through. I don't like to focus on just one thing. I'll also show you fluid intake and other different plans that I have. So first things first, I've got some high five gels. Now I've experimented with a lot of different gels and there are various different ones that I like. Personally, I usually train with high five and sometimes race with other things which have a little bit more carb content, but I find that the high five stuff is both really cost effective for training because I go through a lot of these, but it's also got, it just really sits really nicely on my stomach, which is a big thing. That's another thing you should try. Various different gels. Now Team Cycles have a variety of different gels in, from Torque to Sturka to High Five and so on. It's worth going and maybe grabbing one of each and just see which works best for you. Now this particular gel has got 23 grams in, so just over a third of what I would need per hour. So what I tend to do is I only take one of these per hour because I don't like taking too many of them. They don't sit too well on my stomach. Again, practice with nutrition has kind of let me find that different people have different preferences, but I tend to top this up with some more natural food. So the natural food which I've got, first I've got like a little apple cake which I bought here in Switzerland. It's a little bit like Soreen. This stuff has around 10 grams of carbs in, just less than. So that's going to take me up to around about the 30 gram mark. I'll have one of those per hour. And then finally, I've got a muesli bar. Again, just a local cheap thing that I've got from here in Switzerland. These have around 30 grams of carbs in. So if I have this, the little apple cake, and a gel per hour, then I should be keeping topped up. Now, in addition to that, what I also have is some bottles. This is a big thing which a lot of people miss out on and don't take on board. Now, gels generally are full of sugar, so if you don't have enough water to digest that sugar, your body won't be able to process it properly. So it's really important that you also get enough water on board. So my aim is to have around about 500 ml, if not a little bit more, per hour. So each of these bottles is 800 milliliters, so it should last me between 3 and 4 hours. Which should get us to the cafe stop at around 50k easily, where I will top these up again. So I've got 2 bottles, one with a different lid colour each, so I can identify what's in each. The first one, the pink lid, for me, I have a isotonic and carb mix. So again, this is just high five for me. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it does exactly the job that I want to do. The main thing from this is to try and get the electrolytes and such that I want in, and it has a little bit of carb in there as well, just to top up to be a little bit more than that 60 grams, because you can go between 60 and 80 grams an hour, especially if you're doing the longer distance stuff. Like I say, I'm expecting the ride today to be around 5 hours, so I think that's this way I differentiate it. The other bottle is either just water, because I've got isotonic on the other, or if it's particularly hot like it is here today in Switzerland, it's going to be between 25 and 30 degrees. I add a electrolyte tab in there, just to again add that little bit extra sodium, potassium, etc. Make sure that my body's getting all of the stuff back into it that it's losing through sweat and everything like that while I'm here. So they're the main things that I'm going to be eating and drinking as I go throughout. There will be a cafe stop, and depending on what I get at that cafe, whether it's, I don't know, maybe a Coca-Cola and a sandwich and such, then I'll eat slightly less off the bars and things that I have. But the rule of thumb that I always go for is I always take too much fuel, and I'd rather bring a little bit home than to bonk and not have enough fuel, because there's nothing worse than that. So what I'll do now is I'll start getting ready for my bike ride. I'll start packing all of this up, and as we're going throughout, I'll show you a little bit about when I'm eating and drinking those things, and also show you a little bit about the route.
Those transitions are off.
So we're about an hour in, going around the lake, and so far I've taken on a bit more fluid than what I'd planned, but it's really hot, as you can probably tell, and I'm bang on with my nutrition, but the pace is a little bit high because a certain someone in front of me, he's a triathlete, is surging a lot, put a lot of power in on the hills, been really all over the place. Not perfect pacing, but I'll beat up the hill later. So yeah, still on plan at the minute. An hour in, making good progress. Still on track for about 5 hours. Let's see how we get on. So I'm about 50k into this, just under halfway. We've gone down one side of the lake and we're getting the ferry across to the other side of the lake so that we can ride back up into Switzerland, because we're now in Italy, because we're just under halfway and around 2 hours in. I've been still trying to keep on top of my nutrition. While I was waiting for the ferry, I got myself a can of Coca-Cola, full of carbs, a little bit of caffeine, just to give me a boost with it being a little bit faster than what it had been, what I had expected. Still on top of it, still feeling good. When I get to the other side, I'm going to have a sandwich, so again, I'll show you what I've been having there. Try and again, just accommodate for what nutrition and fueling I need. The mountain which we're going up, you can just see in the background there, hill, mountain, same thing. So I need to make sure I'm in tip-top condition for that. But yeah, it is lovely.
So now that we're in Laveno, I've stopped to get a turkey sandwich, which there's not much left of. I reckon there's around about 30 to 40 grams of carbs in that. And I've also got a banana, which I reckon there's 20 grams in. So that'll get me through almost the next hour. From there I can just keep topping up the gels and such.
I'm probably going to have food left over at the end. It's good to have that option since we are going up the hill. I can put some extra gels in or anything if I fancy having a dig. I still haven't decided if I'm going to have a dig at it yet. We'll see. My competitive nature will probably kick in. But yeah, again, that's the hill, Everlumen. So that's it, that's the top of the climb. Even though I was trying to focus on nutrition as much as I could, I think I did actually bonk a little bit. So the climb itself was 21 kilometers long. It took around an hour and a half. I held around 235 watts for that. So the majority of it was absolutely fine, but the last 5 kilometers are an average of just over 9%. And as soon as I started to lose my cadence a little bit, my legs just kind of went and they felt really heavy. I'd run out of water as well. It had been way hotter than what it was, so I had to stop and get some water as well. I've ate all of the food that I've got with me, in addition to the kind of lunch stop that I had, so I'm glad I brought it all. Maybe didn't have quite enough the effort that was in there. Needed probably closer to 90 grams of carbs rather than 60 grams of carbs, but you can't get it right every time. There's been plenty of stops and plenty of things like that, and while it was tough, I mean, look at the views. So now the idea is to descend down to there, which is back where the training camp is. It's around 25 to 30k loop down, so I think it'll be less than an hour. So all the food that I've just had or scoffed when I got to the top should get me back, and like I say, it's mainly downhill anyway, so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try and descend down and get back as quick as I can, and I'll update you with recovery once I get home. Right, so we're back, parked up at the cafe, ready to stuff my face. So what I've gone for is some chocolate milk, a vitamin water, to try and get some fluids back in, because I'm definitely dehydrated. We ended up riding at 33 degrees, way hotter than the forecast predicted, so didn't have enough water. And I've gone for a packet of salty crisps as well, try and get some salts back in my system. I've got a feeling I'm probably going to end up with an ice cream or 4 as well, but hopefully I'll get the fuel back in my system ready for tomorrow. It doesn't feel too bad after that refuel at the top of the climb, and like I say, we're back down now. I might go on a brick run once I've ate all of this to see how the legs feel. Anyway, that's everything for me for today, for the long bike ride. Hopefully you find it useful, and all the information which I've gone through is in the Team Cycles blog, which you can find on their website. See you next time.